they did good.
I own property in East.
We are live.
All right, everybody, this is the Battery Park City Committee of Communities One Power. We have a lot of guests I see here as well as presenters. We're gonna have a slight change in our agenda order tonight. We're gonna start with item number 3, the South Battery Park construction update. Segue into Wagner Park, which is number 1, and then North Cove will be number 3 after that. And I see that the printed agenda has been updated from the one online. So there had been a North Resiliency Project update on the online agenda that is deferred to either later in the month at the Environmental Protection Committee meeting or to next month's Battery Park City Committee schedules.
Can I ask questions, Zach? Do we have attendees in?
Yes.
We have a bunch. Attendees? No, just to let them know, because I had asked a bunch of people from Battery Park City to call in. And I still think you're gonna be interested in the Wagner, everything that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna go specific to the Northwest Resiliency Project yet. So just so you know, if you've gotta go, that's not gonna be talked about right now. It'll be either September 16th at the EP, 15 or 16,
15, I think it is.
15th EP Committee, the Environmental Protection Committee, or our October 6th meeting, which is a Monday. I do. Yeah, so anyhow, so sorry about that, guys. It's kind of a last minute change up here, so thank you for signing on. Thank you.
I don't know if it's Katie or Nick, who goes first?
I'll start it off and thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good to see everyone. Hope your summers have proceeded nicely. Katie, as you know, is our community construction liaison for the South Battery Park City Resiliency Project. She gives her regular bi-monthly updates. She's here tonight to answer the questions you have on the small items, but the big news, as you all know, and I saw many of you there over the course of the summer, including opening night, was the primary update we have about the South project is that Wagner Park is now reopened. So what we can do is that if you can bring that presentation up, I can belabor too much, but we do have some nice images and kind of recaps to share about that. And then we can go right into the second item, which I think provides a nice segue for an update we owed you also on the Wagner Park Pavilion. Thank you, sir. So, as you all know, Wagner Park reopened on Tuesday, July 29th. Beautiful concert by Karen Smack. And a huge crowd to welcome back our beautiful green jewel at the southernmost edge of Battery Park City. So that's a bird's eye view. We'll see later on in my report. I have linked for you not just this picture, but other pictures and also a lot of the great drone footage we were able to capture over the course of the lead up to the opening, which is really something special to see. So we had a great crowd that night. I'm just going to flip through some of these pictures. That's the new terrace steps. The stage is right to your I was screen to the viewers left or right. Okay. Some folks can join the show. This is on July 29th. That's a view of the steps looking down onto the stage with the lower New York Harbor behind it, Pier 8 to the left, Statue of Liberty there in the right background. Okay. That's pictures of folks enjoying the lawn, making themselves at home on the very first night, which was wonderful to see. It's a long time coming, and we're really glad to be able to return this to the community. So shout out some folks. That's a shot looking northwest out to New Jersey. That's the picture of half of resonating bodies, which is now relocated to the lawn. It used to be in the plaza out on Battery Place, leading underneath the old pavilion. Now it's in the park proper. And that's a fun one, Justine. That's a surprise. Left to right, it's Justine, yours truly, Wendy Chapman, Teddy Elser, and Becky. My wife reminds me that I always take these pictures incorrect. I'm supposed to hold the camera at a high angle down.
Better high.
Up to my apologies, but that was too good not to put in. So that was just a recap of that, and then obviously August 2nd, we had Masonville Floors, which is part of the ongoing suite of events and free programming that is happening throughout Wagner Park, started on July 29th, continues through the summer and fall, and then in perpetuity, once the weather turns nice again after the winter. And then here's some of what they're saying about Wagner Park. And thanks all again for the support over the years. I know it's been a long process and a trying one in some respects, but I really would get the finished product. It's really something to see. The Times had one piece on it just last week. Michael Fleming wrote that the importance of resiliency using Wagner Park and ESCO's two examples. That's the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project. And then, this is in my report as well, but just so you're all tracking, we have Broadway at Wagner Park this weekend. We have Alvin Ailey is gonna be there next Friday night. The Plasmatics, which is a Grammy Award-winning group, that's a partnership with the Museum of Jewish Heritage. That's next Sunday, the 14th. We have Fleur de Blanche on the 18th, and the growing in popularity Illumination Art Festival. That's the weekend of the 25th and the 27th. This is all, of course, listed online and in the event program guide and linked in my report, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were tracking some of those upcoming events. This leads us into Terrence item. Absent any questions, we're certainly happy to take a few, but so we're aware, the temporary food and beverage kiosk in the park, which will be a precursor to the restaurant that will be in the Wagner Park Pavilion, will be opening this month. We don't have an exact date yet. It's getting close. I mean,
Yeah.
days or so.
Nick, is that striped?
That's
Yes.
right,
Okay.
yeah, that you see.
We've been wondering what that was gonna be.
That's what that's gonna be. It's gonna be really
I'll
fun.
see a photo of it.
We'll give some more information on that. The pavilion rooftop and bathrooms are tracking for, this fall. I wish I had a more precise date. We're getting closer to a precise date. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but this fall, the rooftop will be open and the bathrooms of the pavilion will be open.
And in the meantime, you still have the porta potties, right?
I believe the porta potties are.
Yes, I saw
still there. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
For
them.
people using the park.
Yeah.
The pavilion classroom community room, that's gonna be coming in the winter. That obviously needs to be completed. We have to get the COA and then obviously do the outfitting of the space, but that will be open in the winter. And then the restaurant should be hitting middle of next year, spring, summer.
Summer.
Yeah, 26.
Do you know who it's going to be yet?
Yes, Terrence is gonna take that.
Ooh.
And then the next monthly update, not to steal Katie's thunder, but that was the big news that we wanted to update you on since we last saw you in July. Katie will be next back to you in November with outstanding items on the sale to include like punch list items in Wagner Park and the walk around the Battery. We're still finalizing some of that final work schedule. In the interim, what will continue are the usual bi-weekly updates that get emailed to the folks who sign up. And then the usual traffic advisory, like, hey, we have to do overnight work for this Con Ed. Whatever it is, which Katie is very diligent about sending in, like in good order. So I'm happy to turn it over to Terrence now for the restaurant update, if that pleases the committee.
Any questions for Nick on so far?
There's a fence area at the bottom, on the south side, whenever.
Yes, that's the Pier A inlet work, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is, I don't have a precise date, I'm assuming, but that's part of the bottom part of the Pier A inlet and the Pier A Plaza part of the.
And then on top is like that looks like a hat that goes on that side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of Pure A, I think.
Yeah, that's part of the package.
Do you have a approximate season when it might be
I don't want
an
to.
inexact date?
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
Next year?
Yes.
Definitely not in 2025, it's fair to say.
Okay, not this year. And hopefully next.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to say, don't yet want to say not.
We're not holding it in.
Not 2027. It's.
Okay, yeah.
We're working,
2026.
like everything else, you get
You know,
like 9
that's-
cents a step away.
Say.
Water, these
You only
small
know
things
what
that
you know.
happen, which is annoying. But the crown, the jewel in the crown is the park, which is reopened, and we want to make sure that we continue to deliver on the other deadlines. But the news is that the park was open. We want to make sure that we came to report on that and thanked everyone. And I know that the committee and the community board overall moved their meeting for that. So I promise you, we didn't schedule it opposite. That's on purpose. We didn't want to hold it back a moment. We'll get it into the debate. So welcome back, Wagner Park.
Well, thanks, Nick, and I think, I've received a lot of positive comments from the neighborhood about the park. I try to get down there every day, and it really is a wonderful public space. I think the community's going to really enjoy it, especially when we're going to lose a lot of other stuff in a
Yes.
while.
Yes.
But it's been very nice. So, Terrence, you ready to?
Yeah, if you could bring up the presentation on the restaurant.
Terrence Cho is our, as you may know, our Vice President of Real Estate, Battery Park City Authority. And
No,
I'm pleased to announce that we actually have a special guest who's joined us tonight, who's on the phone, Daniel Dorado. And, very, very accomplished individual who's on the right
is that him? There was.
of the new restaurant. That's him in the middle. Yep.
Wait, oh, there he is. He's right here. Yeah, sorry.
So I'll hand it over to Terrence and take it away, and then we can. turn it
Sure.
over to Daniel. Daniel, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so while Zach is bringing up the presentation, I'll just give a recap of how from last year to today. As this group may remember, the RFP for the replacement restaurant for the former Gigina space was issued late last year on Halloween, on October 31st of 2024. After a selection process and eventually coming to an agreement with a proposed operator, we have reached an agreement with Jabber Dorado Enterprises. Is the middle button forward?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Jabber Dorado Enterprises. Jabber Dorado Enterprises is a well-seasoned restaurant operator with co-founders who are pictured on the screen, Daniel Dorado and Jacqueline Tanney, who have over 20 years of experience in the industry. And I'll pause right here since Dan is on the phone. I'll let him introduce himself. But yeah, they both worked at establishments or run establishments at many restaurants that probably many people in this room have been to. And fortunately, Dan could not be here because they are very popular at the US Open right now. They have multiple concessions at the US Open, and they're a little slammed right now because of the record-breaking attendance there in Flushing. But Dan, if you could introduce your company and you and Jacqueline, that would be great.
Absolutely. Terrence, thank you so much. It's nice to see all your faces. I'm sorry I'm not there in person with you. But like Terrence said, we're wrapping up our run at the US Open. It's our third year there. And tennis fans are crazy people, that's for sure. So it's been another record-setting year this year for us. But before I get into operating the restaurant space that we're going to work in conjunction with BPCA, we're really excited about that. I'm just excited to have Wagner Park back. So thank you guys. I know all the work that went into actually making this happen. Just dropped my kids off for first day of school today across the street at 276. And it's nice to see Wagner Park there reopen again. I know they're gonna love it. I miss taking my little ones to the park and having them run around.
Yeah, Dan, if I can interrupt you for 1 second, Dan, I should have also mentioned, Dan is a resident of Battery Park City. He's in Hudson Tower condominium. So Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, so Jacqueline and I have founded this company. I landed in New York over 25 years ago, and I've been working in restaurants ever since. Jacqueline has her hospitality background, and we're just excited to take on this amazing space and what is an amazing park, right? A little bittersweet because we're going to lose a little bit of the north side of Battery Park for a little while, but fingers crossed it's all going to come back and work out well in 5 years. So looking forward to working on what the concept is going to be and the details with Terrence and his team, and reaching out to you guys as well and seeing what is going to be a great fit for the neighborhood. But we're excited to be in the space and look forward to meeting all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. So just to quickly sum up, as I mentioned, Dan is a resident of Battery Park City. He and Jacqueline run Jabber Dorado Enterprises. It is both a food and beverage business, as well as they do have a nonprofit arm where they contribute some portion of excess revenues to food underserved communities for food insecure communities. Dan and Jacqueline's company is also a certified New York State MWBE firm, both the M and the W. They do have multiple concepts. You can see it actually in the first bullet point, the Migrant Kitchen, Casa de Masa, and Dumpling Depot. There are brick and mortar locations on the Upper West Side and Central Park, and as Dan just mentioned, and at the US Open as well. The concept for Wagner Park, which is a good segue into the next slide, will be a unique concept new to the Jabber Dorado portfolio. It won't be one of the existing concepts. They're going to be coming up with something new for Wagner Park. So these are materials from Dan and Jabber Dorado's proposal. First, the concept for their restaurant is to have an all-day cafe with sit-down as well as takeaway service. The tentative operating hours would be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., so it would serve meals all day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dan and Jacqueline have a lot of experience with coming up with menus that are both sensitive to dietary restrictions, allergic restrictions. The overall menu for now, it's a little bit premature to say, and I don't want to speak too much for Dan because it's really their concept, but it's so far right now, it's going to be kind of a general American menu with global influences reflecting the heritage and background of both Dan and Jacqueline. And Dan also, I feel a little weird speaking because you're right there. Feel free to interrupt me if you want to add.
No,
to it
not
as
a
well.
problem. I think the location lends itself to a global menu, right? We're overlooking Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty over there, so we're really looking to infuse a lot of what has already been encompassed in the redesign of the park into the menu and the actual style of service. So we're really excited. It's going to be a whole new concept for us called the Ellis. We're excited to get the temporary kiosks off the ground as soon as possible as well. And so overall, the concept is still in the works and still going to go through the approval phase. But looking forward to working with everybody on it.
Yeah, so as Dan just mentioned, the tentative name for the restaurant is going to be the Ellis, but that will be confirmed closer to opening. The last slide shows the timeline, and we'll be able to announce that more broadly. This is a schematic design. This is a proposed seating plan. Right now, it's very early in the process, and Dan and his team have not really, they haven't finished a design yet, but this is a proposed design for a seating plan. The photos on the right are representative of the type of style and look that they presented to us during the selection process of what they want the restaurant to look like. But again, it's very preliminary to that. I probably actually should have put the timeline at the beginning so you could understand that. But since we only just awarded this RFP within the last few weeks, it's a little premature to have a design. We can certainly come back to this committee and show more progress as the design continues to progress. Some other aspects of the proposal, Dan and his company do have contractors lined up for both design and construction. You can see them listed on the left. They all have a vast wealth of experience designing restaurants and food and beverage establishments. You can see some of the examples in the parentheticals. The construction manager is both a veteran-owned business as well as an MWBE firm. On the right, you will see some of the sustainability practices. As you may remember from the RFP, not only were we encouraging compliance with BPCA's sustainability goals and the sustainability 5-year plan, we were also seeking certification with the Institute of Future Living. Oh wait, I always get this wrong. The Institute of Future Living, I forget what the last I is, but Independent Future Living Institute, that's what it is. ILFI certification, which would, if we are able to achieve that certification for the pavilion, it would actually be only the second commercial building and the first commercial building in Manhattan to achieve that certification. The only other one that has it in the 5 boroughs is the Etsy office in Brooklyn. And so these are 5 broad strokes categories. Dan and Jacqueline detailed to us in their proposal many different examples of sustainability practices, and BPCA will continue to work with them to figure out how we can make the restaurant the most sustainable as possible. This is some of the engagement. Community engagement is very important to Dan and Jacqueline and Jabber Dorado Enterprises. And it's not only because Dan is a resident of Battery Park City Authority, it's very well manifested in some of their prior establishments. with some of the programming that they've had at their other establishments. These are some examples on the left that they've had. Maybe Dan, I'll stop here if you want to give any more color on these, but Dan and company, they are thinking of lots of partnerships with both community as well as established local businesses and schools and government, and also really engaging the media as well. But Dan, is there anything you want to say on here about this?
Well, we definitely have our plan to drive engagement, right? We want to make sure that we're doing our part to drive as much traffic to the location as possible. As you can see here, like we do have a lot of partnerships with both government and private organizations that we hope will help keep us busy, right? In addition to that, I do want to point out that Jabber Dorado is a social impact food enterprise. So to the point that Terrence was mentioning earlier, a portion of all proceeds from everything that we do is donated back to meal distributions across the 5 boroughs. The U.S. Open, for example, all the proceeds from the U.S. Open go to assist our annual Thanksgiving distribution with the Loved Ones Food Pantry in Jackson Heights. We do these things in Chelsea, we do these things in Harlem, we do them in the Bronx, Staten Island, Brooklyn. And as part of the engagement with the community, we would love to engage and invite the community members to join us in distributions all year long. So aside from the for-profit pushing the engagement for restaurant people to join us at the restaurant, we want to make sure we're giving back to the community as well.
Yeah, and one other thing, it's not really specific, or it's not specifically listed here, but one other thing that the selection committee did talk about with actually all of the potential bidders for the RFP was kind of more direct benefits to residents of Battery Park City Authority. And Dan and Jacqueline have both confirmed with BPCA that they do intend to have some sort of incentive program for residents of workers of Battery Park City, which may include something like loyalty programs, discounts on meal, things like that for residents, as well as things like community nights and engaging, it mentions here, engaging with the local schools, things like that. So we will continue to work with Jabber Dorado Enterprises to make sure that it's both at a macro and micro level benefits like these. I think there's, 2 more slides. This is the second to last one. So as Nick mentioned, and as some of you alluded to, you've seen a striped structure in Wagner Park. So before the restaurant opens, the construction duration is expected to take 6 to 9 months. We did want to have some food and beverage options that could be hosted by Jabber Dorado Enterprises within the park. And so they have proposed 3 food and beverage outlets. I'll just go from top to bottom and then I'll explain the locations. The kiosk is, the design of the kiosk is supposed to hearken to the archway of the windows of the Wagner Pavilion building. And it is, as you can see, decorated in that striped material, and it will serve a family-friendly menu, including hot dogs and snacks and obviously beverages as well. That's anticipated to open later this month. We're just working out the last few kinks on infrastructure, but Dan and his team are providing the equipment, supplying the equipment for the kiosk to make it ready to open, hopefully within the next week or 2. And so we'll see on that. There is also an ice cream cart located in the southern area of the park, closer to Pier A. The ice cream cart is mobile. It is serving ice cream in various flavors. And then I'll pause here. The kiosk and ice cream cart, the tentative plan is to have those open for operation at the park every day. There will be some analysis of demand and whether there is enough demand to support operations every day. But the soft opening is that it's intended to open every day. And Dan, remind me of the hours for the kiosk, tentative hours. You said 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Is that what you said?
I believe the tentative hours are right now are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. But this is all subject to change within the first few weeks. Dan and his team members are going to assess the demand, if they need to open more or later, or that's just to see if there's enough demand to sustain the business. And then finally, on event days, Dan and his company have relationships with many food trucks in the city who are already licensed to operate in New York City. And on event days, food trucks will be located on Battery Place in front of Wagner Park to allow for supplemental food and beverage options during event days. So you can see the locations in circle. The only thing I just really want to explain is the food kiosk. Where it says food kiosk interim location, I don't know if there's a pointer here. Oh, sorry, whoops, I just went the wrong way.
Is there a laser pointer on that?
Yeah. Oh, it's on the top, I see, I pressed the wrong button. There we go.
That makes
A little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, we're on the north, I'm trying to point over yeah, closer to MKH, it's around there. That's where the kiosk is now. The hope is that once the other location, which is south of the Pavilion building where it says food kiosk alternate location.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there. That area is not open yet due to construction, active construction. Once that is open, Dan will assess, and if they can feasibly move it, they would like to move to that location because it's a little more central, and also there is possibility that the menu could be more developed because there is an active source of power at that location. There is actually a vendor hookup, whereas the other location, they have to bring an on-site generator. So the menu might be more, it might be more robust and might have more offerings in that alternate location. Hopefully this fall that area will be open. So I'm gonna go on to the next slide, which is the last slide. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions. So this is the timeline. As Nick, as you all know, the park reopened in late July. We are planning, well, this is actually today is the first announcement of the RFP winner. The food kiosk, as I mentioned, will open later this month. Right now, because the pavilion building, the base building construction is not finished yet, Dan and his team cannot begin the interior construction now. But the hope is that that'll be available to start interior construction in November. And the estimated construction duration is about 6 to 9 months. So from November, take 6 to 9 months, that takes you to about between May and July. So by May or July of next year, May, June or July of next year, that is when the restaurant is anticipated to open. Yep, Justine. Yeah.
So, some couple of questions. If you go back to
Sure.
the slide with where the kiosks are, well, they're gonna remain even when the restaurant opens?
That's still TBD. I'd say the idea was that they would come down once the restaurant opens. However, we have said to Jabber Dorado Enterprises that if the kiosk is both successful from a business perspective as well as with the park goers and park users and people love it, we are open to having the kiosk still remain there.
Okay.
So it's just subject to really mutual agreement between us and Jabber
That would be
Dorado.
great if you kind of come back and maybe get an assessment on both ends.
Sure,
Right,
yeah.
business, well,
Yeah.
how it's received.
Yeah,
Second question, I guess, maybe is for, Daniel, right? Is what are the price points, if you know, of the restaurant? Because I know we had asked for levels, right? We wanted fancy, not fancy, we need expensive, and then also for the daytime stuff, more breakfasty.
Absolutely. I think one of the main things that we discussed with Terrence and his team is that we want to make sure that this is affordable, right? This is not going to be a extremely over the top expensive restaurant. We're looking at price points that would vary anywhere from like $8 to $15 in that range. Breakfast items in the morning would be more in line with what you would get at a traditional grab and go style breakfast. Right now we're anticipating having some sort of a coffee service in the morning and that style in the AM. But definitely price points are going to be a lot more reasonable than I think most people would anticipate.
And are we gonna have a fancy restaurant part too? No, it's not big enough for that, right?
We
Oh,
have
go
the
ahead,
team
Dan.
work,
Go ahead.
the architects are definitely working on exactly what it is that we can do, right? Our goal right now is to be open for 3 day parts, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it could be more of an all day cafe that could, trend into more of a more formal and less casual style eatery at night, going into the afternoon. But once again, that's going to be determined by the number of seats that we're actually going to be able to get in there and the fit out and the equipment necessary.
And this might be for Terrence or Nick. What's all this?
That's the building.
That's the building, that's public area, including some public bathrooms and the stairwell that goes up to the roof and all, yeah.
And that's public space on that side? So this is the restaurant side and that's the public space side?
Correct.
On the first second, like, what?
It's, the elevated ground
Elevated
floor,
first floor,
yeah.
right? And then there's a roof on top of it.
Correct,
Yeah.
and then, it's not shown on this plan, the ground, or sorry, the street level below this, what you're seeing here is, the back of house and kitchen area for the restaurant.
Okay, so
Yeah,
in the pavilion, like, and what's gonna be where the arches are, do we know yet, or no?
that's gonna be completely open, yeah.
Open space?
Yeah, I mean, there will be this limited seating here, just for that one row, but the archway as a whole will be just unobstructed view.
Unobstructed views and we could talk about maybe have depending, but that's what it looks like. It's hard to project, but we did want to have seating that was available to the public for free.
Mhm.
Or, they buy their coffee and then go downstairs and just hang out for a while versus having to be in a restaurant upstairs or whatever. So
Right.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's-
I can't comment too much
No,
about
that's-
it. That's, I gotta see what.
Yeah, no, that's temporary, it's
Yeah.
fair too, so this is restaurant associated seating, so you can buy coffee and sit outside.
Yeah,
Separate and apart from that, Ryan Torres and the operations team will be putting seating out in the park. That is
in the
not
park, and
associated
yeah,
with the restaurant, that if you want to just sit. in the
you just
park.
want to bring your own coffee, you can go buy Starbucks.
Right.
There will be seating around of that sort in different
Good.
parts of the park.
All right, so that's good flexibility, because we really wanted to have both.
Yes.
We have nothing against, the Ellis or anything, it's just we want to have more options for people, because some people are gonna come and want to have their kids play, and you can't contain it to 45 minutes or whatever, an hour. Anyhow, thank you.
See, we have Tammy with your
Yeah.
hand up. You have questions, comments?
Thanks. I've got a couple of questions. One aligns a little bit with what Justine was asking, and part of it is, there's a dearth of variety of grab and go for as long as you're in the neighborhood for the team from 276, both the people who work there and the upper grades who go out for lunch and have that possibility for lunch. There are rules and regs of they can't cross the West Side Highway, for example. So they're quite limited in terms of where they go and how far they can go and make it back for out lunch or, even for getting out. So I wondered about what kind of grab and go opportunities there might be at this location when you're there for breakfast and lunch, and for you to consider that kind of an opportunity versus, the sit down seating for a small section of the population, but that also serves the tourists very well, that they don't need to leave to get a grab and go. They could find a grab and go on site and stay.
Well, I think Tammy, you hit it right on the head, right? That's what we are trying to navigate, right? Is what is actually going to work for the community residents and what's going to work for the tourists, and what's that breakdown going to be? Is it going to be 80% tourists? Is it going to be 20% residents? And who do we want to try to focus the cater towards, right? Full disclosure, my wife works across the street at 276 as an occupational therapist. She's let me know and everybody there what the dearth is of options for everybody as well. So grab and go is going to be huge for us. We do anticipate grab and go for somebody, to the previous person who was speaking, to grab a coffee, grab a sandwich, grab a pastry, and go sit outside somewhere else, right? The number one focus that we want to follow here is that we want to be an amenity to the park. We want to be an amenity to the community, right? We don't want to just be a closed off, sectioned off restaurant, right? We want to be an active member of the community, even though we are a restaurant. That restaurant should be a member of the community and providing for everybody there. So I do anticipate a large selection of grab and go. I want to make it easy for people to come in and spend $5. I want to make it easy for people to come in and spend $25, right? I think that if we can have that range, it's definitely possible to do if we do it right.
So I'd extend that to the conversation will be your market will change seasonally and day of the week, which obviously but picnic baskets might be a lovely thing. We used to have a couple places in the neighborhood who did them before they closed post COVID. So that's an interesting concept. And then do you have the exclusive rights to the event space that's currently being called the classroom, or is that still not?
Yeah, I can speak to that. No, that is under the control of Battery Park City Authority. That said, we are certainly encouraging, we would certainly encourage users of the classroom space to sorry, I got distracted for a second.
Where's the classroom?
Oh, it's, I don't know, it's the other,
It's-
I don't think I have it more.
So-
This is the southern.
The only-
This is the north side, it's the northern one.
Okay,
Yeah, the
thank
northern
you.
We would certainly encourage them to use Jabber Dorado for any sort of food and beverage or catering needs, but the classroom will be programmed by Battery Park City Authority.
Good point. All right, the next question, I guess, is related to that, and that's for you, not for our lovely gentleman who will be our new chef in the neighborhood. It's really about the classroom and the classroom opportunity to be a public space, because the discussions were in the early days when the building would open, it would have an incredible display explaining what the resiliency projects are and be a refuge from the storms, because there is no place to get out of the rain on site. Even the center area of the building itself is open to the elements. So I would re-up that and remind you that that's a conversation that was had with the community, and kind of promises made that it wouldn't just be a closed off private room when it didn't have necessarily much going on in terms of monetarily rented out. So I would hope that that stays on the plan. And then I'll tag back to members of the public who have their hands up. And thank you. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Yes.
Where is the grab and go area located?
So I don't think that's been designed yet, unless Dan, you had an idea already
No.
from your designer.
So we don't really have the updated design, right? These designs that were provided a few months ago, so we still need to update the design. We are actively in the design phase right now. The grab and go area would be situated by the main entrance, right? So it'd be more of a upon entry. The coffee bar, the grab and go section would be there. And then as you move past that, then you'll get into more of the dining room.
Yeah, where actually the mouse cursor is better. Yeah.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah,
as you can see in the
that works.
drawing here as well shows a very large oven in the middle there. So everything that is on this original design probably is not going to make it into round two, right? Because now we have to work with a lot more
Fair enough.
than just what we have here. So obviously, I think that what we're going to be able to put together now that we have more feedback from the community is going to be much better and more appropriate for the community.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
Oh, just for, curious about how you guys operate the restaurants, but I do hear a lot of complaints, about restaurants and the garbage and the rats. So I just want to make sure you guys have a plan so that when you do take the trash out, we have, not a lot of rats. And garbage in the street.
Absolutely. There is an enclosed trash room dedicated just because of this specific purpose. Unless I'm incorrect, Terrence, there's that enclosed
No, you're
room
right.
downstairs that will be a air conditioned room, right? So it's conditioned so that you're not getting all the overheated garbage and all that before the trash is moved outside. As much as it's been a logistical pain for some operators, I believe that having the sealed bins put on the street is a much better option than people dumping trash bags onto the street as they were months ago. So we're still working with, currently right now it's Action Carting. We'll be doing the carting from the location. We'll have it every single day, 7 days a week.
Right, thank
Thanks
you.
related to that.
Yes,
How
Betty.
are they dealing with composting and other recycling and other parts to minimize the amount that they put to landfills?
So Action Carting will take care of our composting, right? On-site composting as well. And then cardboard is a separate pickup. So we are doing our best, and our intention is to be as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, and particularly on those two, those are required by New York City law as well. And then also, not only the design, the elements of the operations of the restaurant will be subject to BPCA's approval or review. And so, things like the carting plan for trash, packaging, hours, all of that will be subject to our approval to make sure that it complies with the community and sustainability goals.
Thank you.
Other questions?
The public,
Oh,
don't forget the public.
Yes, who?
Melinda on
Melinda.
that?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Melinda.
Melinda, you have to unmute, you have to unmute yourself now because you've been asked to be unmuted.
I think that's Christine.
No, they're an attendee.
Oh, I see.
Melinda, your hand was raised?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
thank you.
Hi. My name is Melinda. I'm a resident of Battery Point and also a 276 alumni family and PTA member. So Dan, welcome to the community. Also a question relating to the event space there. I don't know if you're aware, but yearly 276 struggles to find auction space for our big fundraiser. And so, you know, depending on where we are securing that space, it can eat into anywhere from 10 to 25% of anything that we raise. So perhaps the event space could have some kind of stipulation that it becomes available for 276 annual fundraising event and perhaps like welcome gatherings. We used to do those at Pier A for a year or two. They were really successful, but obviously the space is no longer available for us. So if we could do something like that with the community, that would be great.
Yeah, Melinda, are you still currently serving on the PTA board?
No, my kids are now in
okay.
high school.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I know some of the members currently right now. I know through the struggles they go through in securing the space for the past couple of years. So I fully anticipate on getting those questions coming our way. And obviously, like, we're here to be an amenity to community. So I am definitely excited to figure out a way to accommodate everybody.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
but on the event space in particular, you know, that's in the domain of our Parks Programming team. So Nick, Becky, and I will take that back as long as the comment that reminder comment that Tammy made to us about shelter for inclement weather. So that's good to know about I wasn't aware of the auction, so that's good to know. We'll take that back.
Well, event space for well, I guess you're saying the community space. Yeah, you'd take the restaurant too if he wants to give it to you. Real. Sorry.
Gotta make sure that all schools are treated equally.
Yeah. Anybody who asks, that makes sense.
Yeah, on the event space, you know, some of you may remember Giginos was allowed to have events there, and it was on a specific schedule as per the lease. We are working through that with Dan and his company. You know, obviously the summer is the peak season for it. We do not want to have the restaurant close every single weekend or something like that. And we want there to be a balance, but also recognizing that the events are an important source of the restaurant's revenue. So we are working on that with Dan to come up with something that is a schedule that is balanced for the number of events that would be permitted for. And when I say events, I'm talking about full buyouts, closeouts.
Yeah.
The restaurants, like, you know, a happy hour for 15 people. We don't care as much about that. But for a full closure of the restaurant, that is something we are going to work on with the eventual license agreement. An amendment to the license agreement with Dan.
So
Tim. Oh, Tammy. Still with your hand up. Go ahead.
yeah, I put it back up. I apologize. We do want to make sure that he has the opportunity to do things. What is the status of the roof and catering or kiosk or food and beverage? When the roof opens, how is that in relation with the other spaces?
So we are, well, I'll put it this way. The Jabber Dorado Enterprises, as the winner of the RFP, would have the exclusive right to provide food and beverage up on the roof. We have for now punted on that at the request of our design and construction team because we want to they want really just the time to finish the construction of that space, and then we can figure out what could possibly go up there. As you know, it's not built as a restaurant, as a food and beverage space. There's no plumbing up there. There's no storage, things like that. Dan and Jacqueline are very excited about the opportunity. They had submitted to us a proposal for a mobile food cart type thing. I don't know, Dan, I know you're very enthusiastic about the roof. So do you want to say anything about how excited you would be given the opportunity for the roof?
I think that given the opportunity for the roof, it's beautiful out there. I had the opportunity to tour it a few times already with Terrence, and as we're going through the preliminary design phase, it's a beautiful view, right? The last thing I think we want to do is just take that away from everybody, right? So we definitely need to figure out how to balance the two. I think that what Wagner Park is we're not caterers per se, right? But it is a beautiful space for events, right? For buyouts, whether it's utilizing the roof, partial roof, all possibilities to explore. But once again, We're going to work with that in conjunction with Terrence and his team on any amendments going forward with that. It's hard to gauge right now because the roof is not complete. That whole stretch and section is like still closed off. But there is definitely potential there to have some amazing events on the roof.
And Dan, that puts me right back to one of the major community concerns, just so you're aware, is that we asked for the roof to be open to the public at all times, and that the roof would be a public amenity, not a private event space. And I didn't mean to walk you down that road, because I know how attractive that roof is. But in the beginning and the end of the day, we loved the idea and supported having some kind of a coffee cart or something up there as another small space for the public. But it was never the community's desire to privatize the public space. And I apologize if I walked you down that way. But
no, but if I can cut you off for 1 second, like I 100%, especially with Battery Gardens closing on the other side of Battery Park over there, right? Like I said, this could just be an event space, and it could be a wonderful event space, but that's not a community park, and that's not a community amenity, right? So once again, happy to work through all these details with Terrence and with the community and the concerns, because it's not our ideal goal to shut off the community from access to any of this, right? So, like I said, more points that need to be discussed, but I'm the last thing I would want is to live in the neighborhood and go there and find out it's closed for a private event if this wasn't my restaurant, right? So yeah, I absolutely understand both sides of that.
Yep. So I just wanted to make sure, Terrence, I don't know if you were here during all of it. I doubt it. And then my last question that goes to Nick and Terrence. I have a concern about delay in construction. Obviously, we would love for it to have been opened yesterday, right? We're all on the same page with that. But looking ahead and behind, I have concerns that this will not be finished 100%. And then we're going to start on the Northwest. So I would love, when we get to that discussion, to understand, because the community was promised that this project would be fully done and finished before the next one started. So I apologize, but I'm looking for an update on that timeline.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sure, yeah.
To clarify, and it's perhaps splitting hairs, but just so we're aligned, we had committed to not starting the Northwest until Wagner Park reopened. I'm not trying to get too cute. Ideally, we, like you, wish we can get everything finished, obviously already. But I do want to, the concern was making sure that we were not taking away more public space before we were able to return a big portion of public space. Doesn't mean we are not obviously full steam ahead and trying to complete it as quickly as we can. There are things that come up in construction that are sometimes unforeseeable. But
For
yes,
us,
the larger
Nick,
the larger point is taken.
the larger point is really not, it wasn't Wagner, it was the South Battery Park City project. So as chair, I'm not asking about Wagner, I'm asking about the entire project. Because yes, the pavilion is the second part of Wagner, but the rest of the space, which involves the battery, which is critical to get reopened, and the areas around Pier A, it's about the public realm, public space. I mean, I am sure, for Dan, he would have loved if it was open yesterday as well, so he could move in and be ready to go by April. But it's not about Wagner for Wagner. It's what the community was told was the South Battery Park City project was the first one. And then after it was done, we were moving to the next. So for me, looking holistically, that is from the edge of the Jewish Heritage Museum to Broadway and through the flop side of Pier A. Should be able to be open before we break ground on the other one. And with that, I will keep silent.
Christine, you have your hand up.
You're on mute. You're muted.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can do it yourself, Christine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm not there. I'm actually going to an event at Wagner tonight. So that's why I'm not there in person. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited about Wagner being open. I have a quick question where we're talking about public event space. Wagner, as long as I've been here, has long been used for children's birthday parties by residents. And there doesn't appear to be a space for that. It was tucked in by a corner. We had picnic tables that people could set up, have balloons, and just their children could run around.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that is still an option, or how people are supposed to do it. The Great Lawn is great. It's extremely sunny, and we've had some beautiful sunny days. So there's no shade. So what is the protocol for that, and will the event space be used for that, etc.? Thank you.
And you can add to that, Nick, to 276 graduation and photos over there as well. So adding to
Yep.
that tact.
We have, I believe last I checked on this, is a plan for some shade structures at some, I may be mistaken or I may be misremembering. I can say for sure, it's in my report, there is gonna be a picnic in Wagner Park, I believe on Sunday for the Downtown Independent Democrats,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
So there are opportunities for events to happen in the park of a picnic type nature. But again, it's a new park, it's configured differently than the old park was. As it evolves, I'm sure people will find places to do things, but it's not the same
You're
configuration.
still giving permits out though for people.
Yeah, sure.
Permit
Yeah,
for a
and
birthday
and
party.
the community room, when it opens, will be, again, not unlike anything else, people wanna be able to rent the space, wanna make sure that there's a means for them to do that without, to Tammy's point, unduly having it where, A, it's either not used and sitting vacant, which no one wants, or B, it's not available for people just to kind of stop into.
Right.
Because it's always rented out, right? So it's about finding that balance.
All right, any other questions, good points? Well, thank you, Terrence and Dan and Nick on this point. We're, I think, all very excited to have the pavilion open, the restaurant open, and have the whole project finished.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you. It's perfect time.
Sorry if we run, I have to leave.
Yes, I know.
Thank you all for having me. I'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you. Terrence, I'm welcome.
Oh, sure.
Thank you for taking
Okay,
the
next
time
on
to
the-
come.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Terrence.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the North Cove sailing people. Do we have presenters?
Do you mind if I said?
Sure, sure.
I didn't bring a whole presentation, but I did want to speak about the North Coast Sailing. So I'm here with all residents of Lower Manhattan, we're all members of the North Coast Sailing Club. And we've spoken with, Battery Park City privately, and we understand that the marina will be closing to make way for barges that,
Before you go further, just please introduce yourself for the people on the.
oh, my name's Melanie Moore, sorry. Melanie Moore, and, I'm a resident of Lower Manhattan. And so we are attempting to save the sailing club, at least some, even a reduced size of it. Right now, we have 100+ members, and then we also provide youth sailing programs, we provide educational programs, we provide affordable access to water, and we're really the only place in Lower Manhattan where you can get on the water. Is through our sailing club, we do free community sails twice a month. So we're not just a small club, we also provide a lot of community resources and services. And so we want to preserve that, as much as we can throughout construction. So we've kind of gone dual paths and trying to figure out what might be possible. One path is potentially situating some boats behind the barges in North Cove. It looks like there might be some space there, potentially. And then another potential path we're exploring is the mooring balls on Pier 25, is being able to move some boats over there. We really are running into a lot of roadblocks with that. We haven't been able to get in contact at all with Pier 25. We don't know how many moorings are available. We don't know if there's a waiting list. We don't know the pricing. Essentially, we're really hitting up against a lot of walls and trying to figure out what the paths forward might be to keep providing, waterfront access to the community.
Now, I know you spoke at a Bowery Park City Authority board meeting. Have you had discussions with?
Yeah, we had.
Yes, we've all talked.
Yes.
So, you know, we have been in discussions, but we're sort of, we're at an impasse right now of like how we can potentially move forward.
When we discussed, go ahead, I know we had given some context to HRPK and Becky tried to smooth the path a bit, but if there's a way that we can try to attempt to maybe unstick it a little bit for you.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, you know, Pier 25 is not being responsive, because that's where I can actually help here. So like, if you run into spots, tell me, and then I can try to help push that process along. So the thing is, like, I know what you guys have as like a general club, like I understand the concept of sailing, right? But I don't know how many boats you have, I don't know how many members you have, I don't know what kind of capacity and space and those things. So that's where it helps when you guys have that information and push it, and you can like include me on things as well. And if they're not responsive, like, I'm happy to run it up the ladder and talk to other folks along there, find people who will answer the phone. Because like, I wanna help you guys out as much as we can here, because like, it's a bummer, it's a huge bummer, you know, and like, and I want you guys to have that ability to continue doing your programs, and to, especially when it comes to affordability on anything in Lower Manhattan, it's incredibly important. So like, if you run into roadblocks, like, please like contact me, like, I'm happy to do what I can.
Yeah, we've reached out to the contacts you provided and just haven't.
No, it's tell me too.
Yeah.
Tell me too, and
So-
I'm happy to push it up some other, you know, like.
Yeah, so like any kind of like email introduction you could make.
Okay,
It would be helpful.
CC you on the email.
absolutely, yeah.
That's gonna say,
Can
I
you
would
guys-
suggest doing that
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah.
Not every email. Tammy has something to say.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Tammy.
So I'd like to be included on all of those emails as chair of the Hudson River Park Advisory Committee. So that would be important. I'll take a conversation offline with Margot, or Melanie after this, after tonight. And I have a question for just logistics, so we understand. Who owns the boats themselves for the sailing school? Are they owned by IGY or Brookfield? Or Battery Park City Authority?
They're owned by Brookfield.
And is Brookfield willing to sell, lease, or anything the boats, or are they just trashing them?
They're gonna sell the boats. So we are prepared as a club to purchase them if necessary, and form sort of a syndicate or co-op. We also are in talks with Hudson River Community Sailing, and they would be interested in potentially taking over the club and running it, and handling the maintenance and insurance. So on our side, we're doing our best to now, you know, get some resources together to actually run the club. And also there's the issue of subsidization, right? So in North Cove Marina, Brookfield's lease agreement with Battery Park City Authority mandates a sailing club, and those are fees are in the marina are subsidized by the public.
By the authority, you mean, or no?
They're subsidized by Brookfield, is my understanding, is those fees are subsidized by Brookfield. So that would be also sort of something we want to potentially discuss is, could there be some sort of subsidization if we move to Pier 25, because we are providing community services?
Okay, so that's question one, and then with the concept that you'd move back, in 5 years or whatever, 6 years?
Yeah, so this is sort of, we'd obviously want to move back, but I think one of the things is what we're trying to really keep at least some sort of club open is because even when the club closed for one single year during COVID, our membership was cut in half. And like our entire community was basically decimated.
Yeah.
So if we close the entire thing for 5 years, everybody's gonna move on.
Starting from scratch.
We'll be completely starting from scratch. There'll be no leadership. There's not a ton of leaders, sailing sort of leaders, right?
Hanging around.
In New York City, there's a handful of people that run these things that have a lot of the experience to do it. So that's kind of why we want to save some part of it if we can.
Nick and Becky, I think that, you know, as the authority is spending money to mitigate the effects of construction, and I certainly think this is in concept something that could be, you know, some financial contribution from the authority as part of the mitigation for this. I mean, this is an important community service that these clubs provide, sailing provides. I assume you've concluded definitively that the marina does need to be closed throughout?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's gonna be closed the whole time, that section.
That whole area,
The whole-
yeah.
The whole time.
Land
5 years,
Yeah.
that's
Well, 5
whatever, 5, 6, 10, whatever.
It's
Yeah.
Not up until it's 10.
And would that be
Due
people who
to
walk in that area? or-
No.
Yes.
Thank you.
Two things, yeah, two parts of it. Due to the complexity, and we talked about this a little bit, Melanie, thank you again for getting the group together on that call. Jeff knows this well from all the meetings, and Justine and others. Due to the complexity of everything that's under the marina, there's Port Authority, River Water Pump Station, there's the path tunnels, there's just a ton of infrastructure. It's an incredibly complex undertaking. There is, and we've looked at it, we did our best to try to look and see if there's a way to do part of it, but it's, from a public safety consideration, we're not gonna be able to have people wending their way through what is essentially an active construction site.
So will we be able to walk on the outside of on the Brookfield place,
So, yeah, when the marina,
on the?
yeah, you'll be able to walk outside north to south or south to north, but it'll be basically hugged up against Brookfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of like where the district is in that,
Yeah.
like, that little walkway there with the
You
lights,
dress up and down that way, but
which
it won't
does
be,
nothing for you, obviously. for
but it
you.
won't be close to or on close to the water.
Question 2, if I may, Ned?
Yeah.
For the marina folks, or the sailing folks.
both people.
Boat people, yes, the boat people. What's the cost? Do you know what the numbers are? Like, what is it gonna cost you to buy the boats? What is it gonna cost you to maintain the boats? What's the subsidy that Brookfield's doing? You know the numbers?
I'm not sure about the subsidy of the boats. I believe they're gonna sell them for around 8,000 each, but because they're in not great condition, we think we could probably
Get them lower, so,
get them for 4 to 6.
and how many boats are you talking?
There's 12 boats.
Yeah, there's 12 boats. Some of them are inactive. There's one that, 2 boats that had damage, so they can be sold as pieces. But there are other boats that are operational, they're beat up.
So 10 boats, but then you're gonna have to do repairs or maintenance?
We probably have to do some repairs and maintenance. And then the bigger problem that we're trying to understand is the amount, there will be barges on Pier 25, as far as our understanding.
Barges. Okay.
That's what we've seen and what we discussed on the last call.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to
Is
say.
that the restaurant? Is that that floating?
That's
restaurant?
news for us.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know what
that's
you're
news
talking
for
about.
CV1. We've not heard
Yeah.
that Pier 25 at all was going to be affected.
I
Yeah.
have construction documents.
Maybe later.
Well, there are barges along the marina, along side of Stuyvesant in the construction fund.
It was tried.
That's not.
But that-
That's Pier 25, but
Right.
across the street, basically.
That
Yeah.
window spot between the top of the
Got it.
Esplanade and 25, that,
Right.
with
Okay,
more.
that makes sense, because
Yeah.
that would be,
Yeah.
they're looking there.
Okay,
That's where the
so-
party is, the
but-
north, the south side.
Hold on. Will the mooring field, which is several feet off of Stuyvesant to Pier 25, be affected? And if so, how? And are there any changes to Pier 25 itself that are associated with this project that we have not seen? Because there were none presented to the Hudson River Park Advisory Council either. So
Cool.
I'm curious to hear what the construction documents say. And none of those
We
tenants
left-
know that.
Yeah, we last came to you, was it in June at the HRPK Advisory Council? I don't believe it's Pier 25. I do know as a result of the conversations when we talked to the sailing club, what the mooring field will look like is still a matter of active conversation between us and HRPK. Which
Yeah, this
unfortunately
is
may
what
be-
I saw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
impacting.
that's in the EIS.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
which may be impacting their ability, perhaps, I don't want to speak for HPK, but they might not know the answer yet about what the mooring field will look like sufficiently to know what they're able to allow.
Yes.
And that's because we are still working through the final portions of what that will look like. So,
It looks to me like there's
but yes,
a handful of different issues here. Fundamental one is availability of space.
yes,
And to the extent you with the authority can facilitate their location of space, that would be great. And it does seem like the only really logical space that would work for the club would be that mooring field, some portion. I don't know how fully occupied it is now, and it's probably gonna have less capacity during construction. Although that's not for the full 5 years, that's for
Correct.
just the beginning period.
Yes,
Relatively speaking.
it's the reach, yeah. Right.
So I'm trying to work,
What's
I
that?
have a call set up with some folks for next week to try
Oh,
and
great.
get a dialogue going, right? But there, obviously, the trust and the advisory council would be really supportive. The advisory council for the trust would be really supportive to not lose the sailing club. The sailing club on the west side of Manhattan are all in danger of being disappeared because the 79th Street boat basin is going under construction as well. So we're losing a lot of access to the waterfront for the public in a lot of different ways. And I guess one of my questions for you, Nick, is was there any opportunity around Pier A to have a conversation for the sailing club? Was there any conversation anywhere else within the land space that BPCA works with to be able to offer opportunities? And if not, and it has to move absolutely out, what kind of support does the PPCA participate in now that could be maintained during their move for the years that they're out until they come back to maintain the public asset?
All good questions. I don't know the answer to, let me start with the PRA question. Unclear what the capability or availability would be there. I don't think there's a world in which we would be able to do anything there for 26 at the least. In terms of, right, there's a lot of issues there in terms of.
Yeah, the conversations that I've had internally were that there were a lot of logistical issues and some safety issues around Pier A, because that was something that we also looked at South Cove.
Yeah.
And there's also similar logistical issues.
And it's also not a marina, South
Right.
Dakota is designed differently.
But we
I want to set the expectation, though, that we certainly want to be a player in helping facilitate a place for this to continue to exist. Ultimately, let's say the mooring field adjacent Pier 25 ceases to be Battery Park City. It's impacted by our work, but ultimately it's going to be Hudson River Park to say, yes, we can, or we can't, or we can partly. So Tammy, I like the idea that the fact that you are helping coordinate this and getting involved, we're certainly happy to be involved in those conversations.
We got that covered. You and your plus, yeah? Okay. Aren't this, it costs money to be in the slips, right? To moor the boats, that, and you know what that fee is.
With the, I believe it's $5,600 per mooring per season, for the summer season.
Per boat?
Per bowl, yeah, so per boat.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a sailor.
Yes. But yes, per boat.
5,600 per boat,
Yeah.
that's $56,000-ish.
It depends where they're ordering.
I believe, again, this is from,
Yeah.
because we have minimal talk to them,
I
I'm
know,
going off
yeah.
what there says on our website.
Okay. But the,
This, I'm going
Yeah,
behind
Pier
numbers.
25.
I'm going behind numbers here, so
Yeah.
per boat, okay. And then the subsidy that the authority, did the authority give any subsidy to your knowledge? You don't think so?
Just part of their lease.
I mean, it was.
I think Brookfield gives us that.
Yeah, it's probably Brookfield.
Required Brookfield to make this happen, and if it costs,
It's part of the, yeah.
if it costs more money than it brings in, tough luck, they suck it in.
So my understanding is that the Brookfield outsource the IGY to run the. work.
Yes.
So when the IGY designed the marina, they had that slip area built for the club.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the membership fee that we pay to the club.
Is the slip area. Could you take that with you?
That slip is, I think it's specifically designed for that
That space?
space.
Okay.
So,
So that's been,
so
the subsidy is Brookfield, but we don't know what that is, because we don't know the distinction. No, because I'm trying to figure out what kind of money are we talking about annually? We're talking about a lot. This is already $140,000 a year.
Yeah,
Plus-
we don't need all 10 boats to maintain a club. I mean, even if we had 4 or 5, we could maintain some community with that. We don't take out all 10 boats at the same time. It's pretty rare. So even if we could do something reduced, we can maintain that community.
So that's great. I'm loving that, Becky, that you're offering to really put them in contact and see what you can do to actually get them talking to each other, to see what's
Absolutely.
available. And with HRPT, to see where the mooring is, as much as you can know. Because I'm certain at some point you can't come too close to your barges. There's gotta be some safe disaster.
Well,
Go ahead.
Becky and Nick, that does bring us to an ideal opportunity that we are going to be really optimistic. We're going to be able to find solutions for them, right? And that hopefully more than just introductions, the Battery Park City Authority can really try and help with the public asset and use it as part of their programming and free community engagement and things like that as well. And so when we're looking at this, and the costs and the recognition of what we're talking about, it also makes me a little uncomfortable knowing that it doesn't seem like there's a huge commitment that the mooring field will return to be the mooring field as we understand, or improved, fixed, whatever. Are we losing mooring spaces?
He doesn't know.
I don't know, I'm not close enough to design to know the answer to that question accurately. I know that we will probably have a sense of it in the next month or so.
So maybe we can come back in our.
We would really like you to come. We would really like you to come and present that to the Hudson River Park Advisory Council. Which includes both, obviously vendors in the park and public input.
Let me take it back.
Well, it sounds like this needs to be a continuing discussion, but I think, Nick, what you're hearing from the committee anyway, we haven't done a resolution on it, but that we do think this is an important community amenity that is worth supporting. We're not saying blank check or anything like that, but that it's worth your attention as well as potentially your money to see if this club can continue in a local space during the construction.
Absolutely, that's certainly the hope.
Project.
And see what you got, see what we can do and see what happened. I mean, this is, if we've got a lot of questions, not enough answers, but hopefully within a month we can get some answers. Some?
Maybe more than a month.
Okay, but
Yes,
yeah,
it's something that we wanna be helpful to businesses that are impacted and residents that are impacted, obviously. In this case, it's kind of almost a perfect meld between the two, right? It's people who live downtown who are reliant on
Exactly.
a business and a club to continue.
Well, and there's one additional element. I mean, the access to water is just a general proposition, is important. And there's too little of it in the Hudson, generally speaking. And, we appreciate some of the design of what's still yet to be done in Wagner Park on, physical, it's kind of almost personal access to the water.
Peoria Inlet, right?
Peoria Inlet. But sailing is another example of that. It's worth preserving to the extent possible during construction to the maximum extent possible during construction.
Okay.
Great, so let's keep talking. Is that fair?
Yeah. I'll send you an email if you can put us
Yeah.
in touch.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You with this?
If I messed up agenda here, it looks like Nick, you're up again, or maybe Patrick is.
Patrick can go first if he wants.
Thank you all for coming.
You ready, Patrick?
It's at the bottom, you know how this works. It's at the bottom. It's a twofer this month because,
You
I'm
guys-
sorry, because we don't have, obviously, in August meeting.
Right, and I know.
You put us in there.
There we go.
Yeah, it's going. All right, so who's going first?
Patrick. Patrick's gonna go through his, I see our events for Tammy, she's gonna like that. Go ahead. Patrick has, numbers for August and July and August, since the last time we saw you all was in July, which had June.
Good evening. Okay, the numbers for July, taking a look at graffiti, we only had one incident, in July. Homeless, we ended up interacting with 33. Homeless, lost and found, we had 6. Park rules was 5. Dealing with vendors, 6 cases now, and dogs were at 5, which was down from last year. Graffiti for August, 0. Homeless interaction was 28. Lost and found property was 6. Park rules, we only had 3. Vendors, dealing with 1, and dogs were at 7. So, all in all, we're dealing a lot more with the homeless, we're interacting more with them. I'm on the monthly meetings with Downtown Alliance, right? And actually, you're on also, right? Adam. And I've sent them pictures of the homeless that was over on Pataki Way that everybody was concerned about, that basically boxes with the air. Okay, I've spoken to the gentleman. As soon as you speak to him, he moves on. He's sometimes there and sometimes he's up by Rockefeller Park. He has his regular pair.
I think Tammy, oh, your hand is down. So,
I'll wait till the end. I'll wait till the end, but I
No.
have questions.
okay.
It's back. All right. So, with the homeless, are we getting, the social workers to come and talk to them each touch? Or they move on before they can get talked to? What's going on?
Basically, what happens is I have my team, when they make the report, they're calling 311. That's what we're told to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and the information that 311 gets is supposed to pass it along, okay? With the gentleman that was on Pataki Way, because everybody was concerned about the school and that stuff. They requested a picture, I sent them the picture, and they said they were gonna send a nurse out to see if they locate him. I gave him the best times that he's usually there. He usually shows up at like 6 in.the morning. And he's gone, sometimes he's there with somebody else and sometimes he's not. He moves along, he really doesn't bother anybody. We've never had
No, but he's
anybody
scary when he's
turn around.
punching. I mean, it's like, it looks like, what,
Yes.
who are you talking to? What are you doing? And are you gonna do more than just punch the air and you're gonna?
Right.
So I get the discomfort, but there's clearly something going on there. And the good news is he hasn't, been violent to anybody, but the
Right.
bad news is that something's going on with him and he could use some help.
Right, so my last meeting with Downtown Alliance, they asked for the picture, I sent them the picture, and they said that they were gonna have somebody go out the next day and take a look. So I haven't heard, but we do visit the location every morning over there.
Do you ever get any results? Like, so just, can you come in? I'd love to know and say, okay, this month we had 33, homeless people interactions and we actually got 3 people housed. If that, or we facilitated getting it done. Do you ever find
I
out
don't-
that knows? Do you know?
Only if the safety ambassador himself actually has convinced the person to
Oh, wow.
take
Okay, so
service.
you don't know what happens after.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Unfortunate, but okay. I mean, it would be nice to know.
Have you seen any positive improvements for the homeless since that new shelter opened on Washington Street?
Well, it's not really a shelter, it's,
They sleep there.
right, but they've already been set up to have services. It's not something where somebody can walk
You
in.
can,
I know that.
Right.
No, but I mean,
The facility, we have
Has
a
it-
facility.
yeah, I mean, has
because
it
there are restrictions, they were supposed to take people from lower
Yes.
Manhattan.
Right,
And
exactly.
put, you know, and they would
Exactly.
take our neighborhood homeless people who were homeless and
Keep
take them
them
in
in
the
the
first, if they would go in.
I'm gonna give, although I never shy from the opportunity to give Tammy Meltzer a plug, I'll give her credit here. Tammy and Zach and I, along with representatives from the local elected officials' offices, sit on the community advisory board for 105 Washington Street. It meets
Yeah.
every other month, I think, every 2 or 3 months. And Tammy has very consistently hammered the point, and of course, in a very charming and productive way, about how the catchment area for 105 Washington is intended to be Manhattan south of 14th Street.
Yeah.
And ever so slightly, they've been kind of inching up. Zach's been very good on them as well about staying on it. And the last meeting we had, which just last month, I think August 11th or whatever it was, they had advised that actually about 50% and 51%. So for the first time, they're actually taking more clients from intended catch basin, the catchment basin, catchment area. It doesn't mean that they can necessarily pick and choose if someone wants to come and live there, they're not gonna turn somebody away. But the idea and the intent is to have it serve people who are otherwise in this area generally. So we're seeing a trend in the right direction. It's certainly not 100%, but it's over the hump, right? Is that a fair summary?
So do, I mean, that is a more
Perfect.
positive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will add,
Second.
I'm gonna add to what Nick just said, because everybody knows some of the local homeless that we have, including the lovely gentleman who hangs out in front of Gristides. There are
Yeah.
many, many people who have offered help or are offered help. They decline it. We do not incarcerate people who are homeless. It is their choice to go in or not. And when they come into the system, they're actually also offered a choice of locations based on availability. So
Right.
yes, we are at a majority of local homeless residents at the 105 Washington shelter, which is a great improvement over the last 10 months that it has been open. And that should hopefully increase more. But again, it's, step 1 or 2 or 3. I am encouraged, and I do want to say thank you to Allied, because I do think that there is a little bit more responsiveness, perhaps this year and last year, than years before, because nobody wanted to talk to or touch a homeless person during COVID, let's be honest. And that lasted a couple years. And with the systems that are set up now with the Downtown Alliance, I think that there's a lot more services available downtown that are actively getting to people if they were willing to take it. And I'm going to ask Patrick directly, are your numbers higher because there is a higher level of engagement as well?
Yes, because, if there was a homeless person sitting on one of the park benches with their clothes in front, not sleeping or laying down, the safety ambassador would have just passed. Because there was nothing to report. Now we're actually going up and talking to them and asking them if they want services, if they would like services.
I mean, that's a nice
So
thing.
that's a
And
good
if-
reason the numbers are up.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a good reason that the numbers are up, because you're actually making an engagement, and maybe if they say yes, I'll talk to somebody.
Right, well, we've actually had one safety ambassador, it's probably now, almost 2 years ago, but actually convinced somebody to have services, and, the safety ambassador called directly, and within 20 minutes, somebody showed up in the vehicle, and the person got in, and
See, that's a good
they
story.
wanted.
That's a really good story, thank you.
2 years ago.
Right, that was about 2 years ago.
But it's something, it's something.
But you have to realize is the Department of Homeless Services actually says it takes 21 touches before somebody will actually accept some
And so
sort
I
of.
don't trust you, and I don't blame them. I mean, the congregate shelters suck. They're horrible, they're not safe, and I understand why, and they have to believe that what you're offering them is not that.
Right.
Anyway,
Can I-
thank you.
May I ask Patrick one more question, please? So Patrick,
Go ahead.
there are two things that I wanted to ask. One, there's a high number of complaints that we see and conversations that I have with people in the street about people not picking up after their pets.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Jeff and his team, as part of Battery Park City Dogs, email people, remind people. One of the conversations that we had years ago was about providing places in the park, along the parkland that had dog bags, or even by the dog runs. Is that something that we can have a discussion about? I guess that's Nick and Patrick, right? That's
Yeah.
one. And then secondarily, I've noticed an increase in the ticket hawkers around now that Wagner is reopened. There is a larger number. I counted a dozen the other day at the bottom of Pataki Way over by the Little West Street and creeping around Battery Place.
Right on the dividing, right on the.
Right.
Creeping up to where the bus stops for the Downtown Alliance in front of the Wagner. So it is a concern that we would like to ensure that gets addressed.
We are aware, I know, go ahead, Patrick.
I have a safety ambassador that patrols that area just as like a rover type right now, because most of the area is still blocked off with construction. We've been spending most of our time inside Wagner, the greater majority of it. So I have safety ambassadors specifically posted inside on dealing with it, and a rover that's walking on the outside. So I'll have the rover pretty much pay more attention to it.
Appreciate that.
Tammy, were you done or not? So I was gonna call Zach.
Go ahead. I'm good.
Go ahead, Zach.
I just want to add a little piece of information that I learned about homeless outreach from the city. So if the person is sort of flagged as a danger to themselves or others, then they try to send out a nurse to do a psych eval on them. And a danger to self can be, if they have their clothes are very ripped and tattered, or if they have some kind of, wounds or something like that, that can be now considered a danger to self, that they need medical.
Okay.
And they said that a majority of those people who, once they send a nurse, they do an eval, and they can, will be taken to hospital, and a majority of those people are actually admitted at that point. And that, when they're admitted to the hospital, that means that those people have accepted that service at that time. So if you flag it as they're a danger to themselves, or others, obviously you would know to flag, but that's something that you can.
That gets them treated,
We
they
get
get
some- we get some
stabilized,
classified nurse
and then they
for
get
second,
moved
right?
out on the street again.
No, then they have services from there, and it's,
So maybe the.
if they want to stay in the system, then that's their pathway to it. And for a lot of people, that has been a path. It's not for everybody, some people decide, once they get there, nope, I'm not doing it. Or 72 hours later, after maybe they had some kind of drug-induced psychosis, wears off, nope, I'm out. But, some people will stay in, so it is another path.
Yeah, and this is new, you're saying this is a new.
This is new to me that I've heard,
This is
and
helpful.
so this is just, I think this sort of direct.
All right, we'll follow
Well,
up with.
that's exactly though what That's why they wanted the picture from me,
Right.
Yeah.
so that they could send the nurse. That's what they would say.
There was a judge ruling, I believe, that sort of modified the danger to self protocol.
Right.
So it has expanded it.
Yeah.
So if you're, as long as Pat is doing that, and they're tapped into that, I'm sorry, repeat that, my mistake.
What I'm saying is they don't have to be on the verge of killing.
Right,
Right.
right. God forbid.
No.
It sounds like then Pat is plugged into that kind of understanding. I would say that I know traditionally what we have always said, if someone's posing a danger to themselves or someone else, the first call should be 911. But in this case, it sounds like there's a bit of a nuance there where it's not necessarily a 911 call, it's a call to someone who can provide a type of.
Possibly, because
It's not, yeah, 311 type call as opposed to a 911 emergency call.
I think you could do either way, but those are sort of the flagging words that
Okay.
triggers the nurse
So nurse
response.
as opposed to a police response.
Correct.
Which is, a nurse response also involves a police.
They
response.
accompany the nurse.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so as long as we're bringing the appropriate resources to bear. Great.
I'm told we have some big city tour people here. Did you guys want to speak or raise issues or just observing?
Observing, to just, so you can introduce ourselves, and you guys know us as well. That you before, yeah.
Forget.
Yeah, so we just want to be proactive too, because we are operating in the, community. We've, did our best job on trying to operate and do the best we can ourselves, but we also understand the community issues and things like that. We're only one company, there are other companies, but we want to make sure that we represent ourselves. We at least have someone to contact or some type of dialogue we can create just to make things, faster.
Do you have, like, contact information you can leave with us?
Oh, that's sorry.
Keep that one outside, yeah.
Really has a card.
Okay, let's connect for sure.
What did I miss? These guys are from Big City Tourism, so they're down at the end, usually by,
Yeah, one of the areas is back. Ticket sellers that.
okay.
Wait a minute.
Sellers,
You have buses or?
sightseeing cruise, a 1 hour sightseeing cruise.
Wait a minute.
Manhattan, well, not all of it, but, down the Hudson. all the way to East River.
And where does it start and stop?
It starts from, Pier 78, then it goes down.
Where's Pier 78?
It's one of the last private, it's, Midtown.
78 would be 38. Okay.
38 and 12.
So you're selling this on the street in the Battery to go up?
One of the areas, we sell
Okay.
all throughout New York City.
Okay.
For most boats.
And how do you get people up to the pier?
We provide a free shuttle service, free shuttle bus.
Bus,
Yeah.
van?
For our customers, just to make it a convenience, we know a lot of people do go down there to try to do sightseeing tours. With the intention of also going to the statue. But a lot of people are often misconceived along the way, before, after. So we do our best way to, mitigate those issues and keep the customer happy when it comes to that.
How many,
As a company, we provide, we provided the resources, we've hired people that are there, down there in the Battery.
How do we recognize them? Do they wear?
They'll wear a Big City Tourism shirt.
Tell me more, colors and what?
Usually it's either pink or blue. And they'll have the Big City Tourism logo on right here on the chest. They'll have a Statue of Liberty here. They'll say information and tickets and a website on the back.
You know, like we've had an issue for years with what we call ticket hawkers.
Yeah.
Who tell people they're gonna send them one place and then they send them somewhere else. So you're telling us you guys are legitimate.
Oh, yes, we
You tell them what you're selling.
Marianne,
You're telling us.
hang on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Yes or no? Does Big City Tours use third-party ticket sellers that are on the streets around the Battery?
Licensed by the BTA, yes.
BC.
They license,
It doesn't-
they all
it
have
doesn't-
57
they're all
licenses.
It
They're
doesn't.
Licensed by the,
It,
they're
that,
not all licensed at all, but some are. And the
I
ones that
I
are,
appreciate
the only ones
where you're going,
you
but
ask me questions.
but the answer is
So awesome.
yes. The answer is yes. You employ the third-party ticket sellers who also sell from multiple boats. It's the same crews of people that are down there. Correct?
When you say see cruise of people, what do you mean?
You,
We're one company, we're a family-owned company.
I
So this is my,
understand,
this is my
but
father, I'm
you,
his son.
I understand that, but you employ the third-party ticket sellers that we see on the streets on Battery Place, from the bus stops in Wagner, all the way around to where the Staten Island Ferry is. The company that you employ, you third-party out to subcontract to sell tickets for your small company, correct?
A third-party business, a company that is licensed to sell in a public space by the DCA. They have their own company. We do B2B with them. The DCA is the DCWP, I believe now?
Yes, formerly Consumer Affairs now.
Yes, they offer a license called a ticket seller business license, which allows a business, a LLC or S corp, to operate in a public space, buy, sell, and trade tickets in a public space.
So if I may ask a question?
However, they're not allowed to sell tickets in the park. And the Battery Park City Historic Battery Park's landline is to the sidewalk.
Oh, wait. So, Tammy, if I may. So a couple of problems that I have, so I'm gonna ask some questions, but maybe I'll tell you what my problem is first, or our problem is, okay? What we see and have been reacting to and getting our hackles risen by is when people are driving, and it's happened to me in my car, driving down, you come to the edge of the West Side Highway and it kind of dead ends, right? They flag you, wave you over like you're doing something wrong, whatever, they pull you, and they're trying to sell you a ticket. Yeah, no.
Your guys don't do that.
And then, well, yeah, so I'm gonna go from there. These are things that whether it's something that's, you think is okay, it's not okay, number one. Number two, if you're walking, I can hear people telling them they're gonna sell tickets to the Staten Island Ferry. Sell tickets. Now, I think it costs money to go to the Statue of Liberty, to go to Ellis Island, to go there. There are places where those tickets are sold in the Castle Clinton, but paying you, well, not you, but paying the somebody on the street for those tickets, I don't think is the same thing as paying in Castle Clinton. Maybe it is. Maybe you guys, somebody goes down there and buys them and then sells them at a different price. I don't know. But people feel like they're getting ripped off and these are tourists that are coming here. And then, of course, the reason why we know it is because some other people are approaching us and approaching residents. We're like, yeah, no, we know better. So stop it. And then I've had other people who've told me that when they've said something to a tourist, they're like, no, don't do that. It's free. The Staten Island Ferry is free. You don't need a ticket. What? You know, the guys, again, I'm not saying they're your guys, the guys get mad and threaten the resident, who's usually a woman walking a dog or doing something or whatever, sticking their nose into business, but it's important because it's our neighborhood and it's frustrating. So I guess my question is to go on now what she said. You're saying your guys are, you only hire third-party vendors who are registered, great.
They're all registered.
I know, but your people that you hire work for you and somebody else, or just you?
So we have specific groups that do work directly for us, but they are an independent contractor. That's why they're not our employees. That's why we just want to make that clear as well. It's B2B. So as an independent contractor, we can't control them and tell them they can only sell our ticket. We know when they were, or the ticket that do sell our ticket, they do not do, they are not allowed to stand in certain areas. We do not accept that. We also have management that are our employees that we pay, that are down there talking to the customers. So when the customer does purchase a ticket, when they go to stand on our line, and when they receive the ticket, our person that's paid by us, Big City Tourism, then speaks to that
Customer.
re-pitches to all the customers, let them know what the product that they bought. We do not disembark on the island.
Yeah, right. Right. Straight about it. You're not getting off.
That's the second, but first, the ticket itself says it on the ticket.
Right, okay.
Then we have a human being that we pay to actually say that speech. So they wouldn't even make it to us without knowing the exact product they buy. That manager, if someone is lied to, he then walks them over because we can track everything through the ticket. The ticket is printed out. It has a code it's attached to that seller. So we're able to go back to that seller, find that seller, either issue a refund or whatever whatever
Yeah, yeah.
discrepancy it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, so that's a good thing, because part of what, I'm loving the fact,
No company does that.
I'm loving, I know, clearly, I'm loving the fact, number one, that you came here, thank you. And I like that you introduced yourself and making the connection here, that's all great. What would be wonderful so that we could turn around and say, okay, big city tourism, that's the great thing. If you hire Jeff to sell your boat, that's good, yeah, right? You hire Jeff, but then I hire Jeff and I say, yeah, but you can just,
While you're out there.
while you're out there, do this too. So they're just doing anything. It's the same guy or girl who's selling, and they're they're doing the right thing and they're doing the wrong thing. That falls on, it falls back onto you, you know what I'm saying? You're getting painted with that brush.
Yeah.
Is there a way, and I can't tell your business, is there a way for you just to take your people and say, this is all you're selling if you work for us? If you're gonna put on a big city tourism shirt, you may not sell anything else but our big city tourism situation. And then I love the extra stuff that you're doing by trying to police a little bit and help us out. But
Well, we've done that, we've lost like a third of our workforce.
I bet you
already.
did, because they want the money from everybody, I know.
But the problem that occurred is, the other companies that operate that don't do that, right? They
Yeah,
all out.
that is the.
And these companies have been operating down in Battery Park.
For a long time.
Way before us, even when I came into the business, I did 16 months of just research and development.
Mhm.
Just finding out what are the problems and how to combat these things.
Well, you're getting a bad rap, you, big city tourism, we're getting painted with the same brush.
We're willing to be here to give you guys somebody to contact. Up to this point, I don't think y'all even had this dialogue.
No.
I think we needed to start somewhere, and then maybe, we can grow, and move in the right direction, because we definitely, like we said, we're family-owned business, we're locals and from the Lower East Side. We depend on our business, and we've lost a lot of our business because we're trying to do the right thing.
Right thing, yeah, which is always,
Yeah, it's hurt us really bad, but,
Let's make it better.
yeah, but so we would love to, I mean, I would love to hear it, you don't have to say it now, because whatever, ideas, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, so we have, the board has resolution and pushed for legislation in the city council, and our city council member has introduced it to eliminate the third parties. So your competitors, who you're saying are acting poorly, would not be able to hire a third party that would be selling for somebody else. So it would require all of these sellers to be tied to one company. So we would love your support in that if you're looking for a solution to this problem, because we all are looking for that solution. So we would love your support on that legislation, and that would really move this issue forward.
And I think a big piece of this as well is we have to talk about the laws around independent contractors.
Right.
And so because the
That's
wealth of,
law we're working.
the wealth of these guys are independent contractors, it legislatively, we can't even make them wear a particular color uniform.
yeah, we can't.
Yeah, we can't tell them that you can only sell for us, and so those are certain issues.
Are you, I mean, I'm not certain about that, but I will challenge that piece of information, because again, you can't tell them if you're gonna pay them. If you pay them enough money, even as an independent contractor, I am hiring you and you only can work for me, you work for Big City as an independent contractor. And some of those rules are you're gonna be working less than full-time, whatever it is to make you not a W-2 employee, because I get that costs you more money, and it's a different scenario. I can understand it as a business reason why, but I do believe you can make a contract with anybody to do anything, and it's not unconscionable or illegal to say, Jeff will only sell for, Big City tourism. That's not, it's not illegal.
I'm not 100%, I don't think either one of us are 100% on that.
Yeah.
I don't know, okay, maybe, I mean, I don't know,
think we
okay.
should yeah, because it's a fine line with employee and independent contractor. That's one
Because
of
that's what you're feeling like you're hampered by, so maybe this law will
Yeah.
fix it. Okay. No, thank you for coming.
I do
Really
have,
glad.
where,
I'm sorry,
So,
sir.
go ahead, Patrick.
where do you queue the bus to take them up to the pier?
The charter pickup and drop off.
It's right across from 17 Battery.
17 battery, which is
Seven.
Battery Park City.
No.
Where is that exactly?
Like the New York.
There's two.
Yes.
West Street, yeah, near West Street.
Academy and
Yeah.
17 Battery Place where.
And then they go right up West Street.
Legislate the tickets and, parking tickets and things like that.
And because we'll always have, management there to always, interact with the customers. We also,
How much is the ticket?
tickets range from, it starts at, $49.99, and you get one for $59.
What's the difference?
I wanna wrap up this discussion, and take that offline, but I'm really glad you guys came. This is actually,
Content.
by and large, probably not the right committee, but this committee is very, because our jurisdiction in Battery Park City, but the issue of ticket sellers is something that the community board has been very concerned around. And I think it says a lot that you took the time and effort to come here, and appreciate having your
We appreciate it.
Contact, appreciate you guys listening and just giving us a ear, and we're wide open, we wanna make these connections.
Yes.
Wide open to, suggestions, exact step, it's legislation. Any way we can work together so we can have a future and make things better and brighter.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly, as a general rule, community board supports local businesses.
We suffered a lot doing what we can, but, the other companies are a lot bigger than us too, and we're small family owned business, so we're up against those guys, and those guys, they've been Topview's been, in your backyard since, 2014. Maybe back 2016.
Probably, yes.
Causing disruption to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, thank you for coming.
Work with them on the legislation for the meeting.
Pardon?
What's what?
Is there anything set up so you can work with them on the legislation?
I think we need to have a follow-on discussion, because I think that's very important. Yeah.
What's Chris Martin, I mean, you have their.
Well, we need to provide the legislation.
That's for the impasse.
Yeah,
With the legislation, yeah.
Yeah.
We would take that.
Don't you guys know how to get, you know how to find them? Okay.
Yeah.
Besides walking down.
Do you have like the legislation?
It's been introduced.
It's already been, that's what's the direction on how to, be proactive. I wanna look it over and, yeah.
Send them
Well,
a
that's
copy.
what we're talking about working with him and the council person too, who's, it's his legislation that can answer your questions directly.
Yes, I know Chris Martin.
Chris Martin, yeah.
We're from the same, Lower East Side.
So that would be a good way to,
We do a lot of community work and that stuff too, so.
but that would be a positive way to do it and let him know, and then maybe you guys can put in a statement or something, I don't know. I don't know what, how people can get it. But that's the idea.
Or direction.
You direct it, let us know that, what's the best way for us to be proactive and be helpful with the legislation.
Okay, so that's correct. We will.
Thank you.
Okay, so next item on the agenda then.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Have a great night.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Is that your water?
That's it. Okay, so Nick, your report is up.
All right. 7:55, we're gonna go through, but it's gonna be great.
10 minutes.
All right, Mary Ann Colvin. First item we talked about, thank you, we talked about Wagner at the top of the meeting, so just another opportunity to say thanks again for the support that reopened in July. Going through a couple of these items very quickly. We have the new updated page on our site, and then as I mentioned earlier, we have linked there the full press kit that we put out, so high resolution pictures, drone footage, thanks to Becky for her fantastic work in getting that aligned with and clearance through ESD to get that drone footage shot for the opening of the park. Some fact sheets, etc. Coming up, as we mentioned in the presentation, the number of food and beverage kiosks, the pavilion rooftop and bathrooms. And then we have a latest bi-weekly project construction that Katie very capably sends out. And then we have Katie's information. I have some fun news on the Northwest project, not the full bore construction look ahead, which we're gonna be back to the community board on. But as you know, we have constructed those flood barrier system mock-ups on opposing sides of Albany Street between Gateway on the north, Hudson Tower on the south, and then one down by Second Place by River Watch, I believe is the building. What we did this week was, part of having these things out in the wild, was that we did some graffiti testing this week, which is graffiti.
I was actually gonna ask about that. I saw it, I saw it disappear.
And then what we did was, there will be coating on the front barrier system on the wall that is graffiti resistant. So what we did this week was we tested graffiti and then we tested the solvents that are used to the performance of the anti-graffiti measures and the cleaners. So to the left is how it started, to the right is how it's going. First picture I didn't take myself, the second picture I literally did. I walked down this afternoon and took a picture of the same wall, the same spot, the same line, and it came off. So we were able to clean it off, pretty easily. Those are members of our parks operations team. So in the wild, although we don't expect a ton, it happens. The way it usually works, thanks to Pat and the team, is if an Allied Universal ambassador is walking around and they see something, they will use the geocode, they'll scan it, it goes to parks operations, and in the morning when Ryan and the team get in, the dispatch folks can clean the stuff up. So that's a real world example of what the wall would look like, and then some of the measures in place to keep them clean and manageable and maintained. So that's a side by side.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So on that picture, you've got like some textured wall and some flat wall. What's the difference? Is this?
Yeah, it's just different, just a
I mean, like,
different.
okay, so I have both?
Just a
You
different
got this
texture.
here, this here?
Yeah, the mock-up shows both. The
Yeah.
actual wall depends on where it is in the design.
Okay, so it's, okay.
That's
But that's
representative.
just showing you both
Yeah,
options.
what the height of the wall
But-
would be there. That's not the wall, that's a mock-up.
I know.
But at Albany Street,
Yeah.
you're going to have this or
Coming in.
that meeting it, right?
You're gonna have a
Flip
flip up gate that
Okay.
closes the difference between the.
And that's not where the wall is gonna end, right? That's not even close to it, right? Like, it's not, assuming the wall was built, it's not gonna come just to there, it's gonna be probably
Gonna be
farther.
more, I have to look at the exact
Right,
rendering, but
yeah.
that's a representative of what.
What it could look like, but it has nothing to do with where the walls are
It won't
going.
be in the middle of the
Because you got-
building. Be at the-
But it is intended to be the height.
Yes.
Yes.
Of the
Correct.
wall.
It's high.
Lines, my eyes.
But actually, when you see it on one side, it's the same height
As the existing wall, yes, but there's nothing different than what's there, and it's gonna be,
Actually, yeah, it's really interesting. I walked out this, I noticed on the back side of where it says Albany Street, if you're looking at South End Avenue, it has the height above sea level.
Oh.
The top of that wall is actually 19 feet, not because the wall is 19 feet.
because the sea level is
19 feet above where the sea level, is, which shows you what the force and the height of the storm surge is expected, or projected to be in
Yeah.
a certain.
I know this isn't the time to talk about this stuff, but I have
that's,
to say.
yeah, just so
I'm not
that,
gonna
that's
do
the
it.
idea that's there. I just wanted to share that was kind of cool that was being done this weekend. It was being very short order. And then, this is not the full look ahead, but just, we have in the past, as you know, done, what we call test pits in various locations. So they're just kind of borings that are fenced off, and not huge, like maybe a 10 by 10 square that's fenced off. And allows us to test geotechnical subsurface conditions. In this particular case, we need to locate some Con Ed infrastructure. So you'll be seeing some test pits starting later this month, at the locations listed there. Again, not huge impact, just to be able to walk around, but when you see these things out in the wild, that's what it is. Rather getting ahead of it now and tell you guys, hey, here's what it is, so when you get questions, you'll be like, oh, yes, Nick told us about this in the report. What I did there is I linked under the second check mark up top, has been conducted. You link to that, that's hyperlinked to something similar we did last year. So it's a blog post describing what test pits are, why they're needed, and a picture of what you can expect the enclosure to look like. And then coming up at the community board, again, updates coming soon in timeline, and Jeff and Tammy, thanks for the flexibility there, but we have updates to you coming on the neighborhood enhancements that we talked about, dog runs, which is part and parcel of the enhancements, that work, and then construction staging and bidding, in the months to come, as we gear up to proper construction. Okay, fall events, free events, I'm not gonna go through all of them, they're listed as you know, but we have back to school, movie night, and all night, which is great, we have Broadway and Battery Park City. Yeah,
Produces this Broadway.
that is a called, you know the name?
So you kind of hire them to put the,
Yeah, it's a program, it's with those actors at V-Trans. I think it's
Yeah.
a traveling Broadway
Okay.
group. Should be really fun. It's got sort of Daily News, I think, wrote about it. It should be really fun to see.
Yes, they did.
And then we'll run through here, Ailey 2, which is Alvin Ailey, is gonna be here next Friday, which is very exciting. The Plasmatics, which I mentioned before, we have a Hurricane Maria commemoration on the 13th, and then obviously the BPC Block Party on the 20th, which is now revitalized for its second year again, thanks to, as always, Rosalie Joseph, the committee at Gateway, and obviously Greg and Monroe from the programming team, who do a great job putting this together. It's really becoming
That's a great project.
rejuvenated community staple. So that's on the 20th, 7 to 4 at Esplanade Plaza. All right, running down here, I didn't do the full list of Climate Week updates. We're gonna have a dedicated email blast come out from that from Becky. Thank you, but the one thing I did want to draw your attention to, because it's a very nice tie-in. Sunday, the 21st, which is the first day of Climate Week, we're gonna tie into that at E-Waste Drive right at the farmer's market. So at Arishana Memorial Plaza, there'll be an E-Waste Drive. So you can bring your old cables, phones, CDs, cassette tapes, 8 tracks, whatever it is. That's really nice, and that's in partnership with the Lower East Side Ecology Center. We did one a couple of years ago. It was huge.
The same days as.
That's one of you.
Steven Siller.
The rights?
Oh, the
Or is that on Saturday?
They're on the.
This will be on the 21st. It'll be at the farmer's market, the E-Waste Drive.
Yeah.
Siller is the 28th.
28th.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? Does anybody know if when the tower, the lights are coming up this year?
Good question. I don't know.
Tribute lights.
They usually have tested them by now. Sometimes that's.
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
put them up on the line.
I feel like I saw them test them later last year.
Later, okay.
Yeah. I feel like it was close.
They asked me and I didn't post.
Yeah.
Okay, but.
Justine,
Because I
it's
do
not
remember
you.
seeing them on the way home, and yeah.
Yeah. I know it's. gonna be nice. Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
they are coming back.
Thank you.
They filed for an event permit for the top of the roof of the bridge. Of the
Perfect.
battery
I know.
garage.
Okay.
Thank
you. I'll run through these pet-free parks lawns. That's always a very popular one, as we know. Reminder scam alert, again, we have that. Don't hand anybody your phone, please. We did a very nicely attended virtual information session on the injured bird session in July. Folks attended, we now actually have that that session online as well. It's on our YouTube channel. You can click and read it, and that was our folks who work in the parks, kind of steps you can take to identify an injured bird right out in Park City, what you can do and how to get it the help it needs. And then we talked about homelessness to a fairly well extent earlier in the meeting, so I won't belabor the point, but there are resources available for folks who need it. Okay, lost and found, obviously. A couple of items this month going on in our parks. I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that in addition to the work with injured birds, the fall migration season, which is happening, as we know, September, October, that timeframe, we will once again be having a mural on the Teardrop Park restrooms. We did that back in the fall, a beautiful painted mural that helped break, not in a physical sense, break up the reflection of the glass so birds are less inclined to fly into it. It's not a huge problem there because the window's not very high up.
Yeah, but
But
still.
nonetheless, we want to set the example where there are glass structures or glass surfaces, that there are ways to do that in kind of very creative ways to help birds differentiate between what they think they're flying into. So it's the reflection of a tree and no pressure into glasses.
Summer Senior Living now has that
Yes.
senior living place. They're redoing a lot of work, and the person was just telling me today, they're gonna put all this glass, they're gonna have a big glass lobby, and the first thing that came to my mind is birds.
Okay.
So maybe they could be hit up fast to do the right thing,
That's a good point.
which I will say when I have an opportunity, but
Is
they
it,
may have more authority than I do.
We'll write that down. Maybe we'll have some from the parks.
Yeah, yeah.
And the neat thing about the glass art at 75 Batteries, the student at Stuyvesant.
oh, how
did that.
lovely.
So it was kind of really sweet.
So where's that, which one?
At 75 Battery down by Wagner Park, our other office that we have our park operations in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you like put that together or somebody else?
No, that was our part. Abby's not with us anymore. She retired. Yeah. Yeah. very well-deserved retirement, but
I only found out when I wrote to her an email, no. You know this.
So who's, well, you know what, tell me who's in charge now, because I've got a question for you, but not.
yeah, Abby's not been replaced, but Rayanne McCarty's been taking over all of our art programming and things like that, so she's the assistant director of public art.
Yeah, do Craig. or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Terrence, did he replace, and I'm blanking on her name,
Terrence is a new position.
new position?
Okay, and then, just so we know, I'm just getting this out ahead of, so everyone knows it. There are 3 honey locust trees by the ferry terminal that need to be removed because they are, dying trees. They're not healthy trees. So you see them coming down, it's not because of storm resilience work, it's through the management of the park. They're gonna become temporary trees need to be taken down.
So-
So there's a tree that just like these low down.
Just explain, it was insane today, on 225, right,
I got that
from
note this
the
afternoon.
225, right? And it's bizarre, it must have been, I don't know.
I just got the note this afternoon from Ryan.
Because the firemen were there and they helped cut the tree because it fell, thankfully it didn't hurt anybody,
We
they said.
cordoned it off.
Yeah.
It just happened this afternoon.
It happened this afternoon, yeah, no, right in front, right across the street.
Yeah.
I was just walking back. No, the fire truck was there, they cut the branches off, the truck didn't even, the
So
car
just-
didn't even look
Just
down.
look that way, if you see those trees come down,
Yeah.
wherever we cordoned it off, we'll
If
take
that's,
care of
is that, are those honey locust trees, are they all?
I don't know if
I
that
don't
is,
know.
but we will eventually then obviously, when it's planting season again, replant.
the right
next one. I think it's October or April when we
Yeah.
usually plant.
Whenever they, yeah.
Board meeting schedule, October 1st is the next board meeting, and then the 29th and the 10th, Marianne, switch dates, please don't get upset.
Switching the dates.
All right?
So October first, but then October 29th.
Yeah, it was September 3rd, but I push it back to October 1st, so October 1st, which is still a ways off, but those are the last week of the year.
Oh, right, okay.
All right, let's see, our next item. Okay, Tammy Meltzer. You asked, I've answered. We actually didn't have a lot over the summer, but permanent walks, runs, and events that are coming up in Battery Park City. No, ground shaking events here, but just so we know, we have a few events coming up. We have a few walkathons. We have the Pipes and Drums, which is a very small event on the 6th, which is Saturday. I covered the DID annual picnic, which shouldn't be too big, about 75 folks on Sunday. Cynthia Rowley's doing a fashion show in Wacker Park on the next Saturday,
Oh, they're gonna be
13th.
crisscrossing.
Yeah, it should be nice. It's open for people to walk in and see. But that'll be happening there.
Be here that.
St. Jude's on the 14th and Foot Fun Run on the 18th. I put a note there at bottom. I was gonna name it the Tammy Meltzer Honorable Note, but I just named it Note. I know it's been a concern, but just so we're aware, so people are clear, the standard route remains as it is and as it has been. I know that there were some questions with opening Wagner Park. Now we're gonna have people running through it. The standard route remains as it was, which is to say, whether you're coming from the east or the west, folks will run up Battery Place and you make the turn either on Second or on Third, depending. Most of the time it's on Third, because you have a straight shot right out to this, not gonna be.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be running through or inside Wagner Park.
Which is nice.
The Esplanade or around the edge.
Good, they're not gonna be, that's a good thing.
That's as it has been, and it's so tight down there anyhow.
It is.
It's very easy to make, down the Esplanade, to make the left on Third or Second, or the right on Third or Second, and back out. Whether it's up Little West, or Battery, or up the Esplanade. And those were it, those were the top items.
Okay.
Any questions for Nick?
Go ahead, Tim.
I guess my concern is always when we're talking about construction and we're talking about walkthroughs and runs, and we're talking about not only going through Wagner or around the Battery and things like that, it's to protect the businesses and the people who ideally don't enjoy, as we look ahead, construction out the back window and bullhorns in the front. So
Right.
having some kind of conversation for quality of life and making sure that the businesses can operate, or maybe if you're doing a run in Battery Park City, you're somehow stocking your snack station instead of from local businesses, or working to support local businesses would be lovely.
Okay. Thank you, it's a good flag.
All right, well, with that, you're done, Nick. And we have one item left on the agenda that you guys don't need to stay for.
Okay.
You're welcome to, which is our district needs.
Okay.
Some part of the meeting.
That's it, I don't, because I know.
Jeff?
Thank you. Thank
The
you.
last one is for the Battery Park City Authority though.
Well,
Yes,
but
Tammy.
I wanted to ask Nick, because last
Yes.
night in transportation, we discussed leaving South End Ave and the safety improvements that we were looking to do. We know that that project got sidelined by current resiliency, right? And there's no conversations right now because South End will be used for staging and construction and things like that. So we understand all that, but I requested to leave the safety improvements for South End Avenue on our budget requests so it doesn't fall off because we did have somebody die there. And it is a little hairier than it was actually a couple of years ago. So not sure if the Battery Park City Authority would be open to even some temporary improvements on South End Avenue and working with city agencies to get, even if it's temporary measures done before an entire relook is done again.
Tammy, what kind of temporary measures are you thinking of?
I'm not thinking, I'm saying that that's a DOT to figure out if they can, what kind of pedestrian improvements, whether it's additional walkways, whether it's putting planters in the middle of South End so people can't park in the middle of the street, or making the middle of the street official parking, figure something out so it's just safer to cross. Because we no longer mind jaywalkers in the city, so people cross everywhere. And it concerns me, whether it's a bike path that's more defined, whether it's curb bump outs at the end of every intersection, something that improves safety along South End. So Jeff, I don't know, I'm not prescriptive.
Yeah, I think certainly widen the sidewalk on the Gateway side between Albany and Liberty. But, okay, yeah, we'll keep it on. I do see another item on here, Nick.
Go ahead.
We've had an item on the agenda on the district needs statement for a couple of years now, because we've gotten complaints that people try to call 911 or 311 when they're on the Esplanade. And none of the respondents can figure out where they are. Because apparently it's not registered. The system tends to register by street address, and street addresses.
Or intersection.
Yeah, or intersection. And when you're on the Esplanade, you're not at an intersection, and you're not at a street address either. And so we had put an item on here that said, develop improved ways to identify specific locations in parks that are solely under the jurisdiction of the Battery Park City Authority for better targeting of service requests via 911 and 311. And the response back came, the agency does not understand, this was sent to Parks. Agency doesn't understand this request as written and requires clarification. This request should be addressed to the Battery Park City Authority.
It would be very easy to put up the street signs.
Well, it's not just a street sign issue, it's a 3119.
I know, but on the
It's
lamp,
mapping, isn't it?
It's mapping.
It's an address.
on the lamp posts,
It's not the lamp post, it's the address.
Mhm.
I try to report things on corners that are broken up. And there's no building with an address there. They're not even looking at the corner. And I told them exactly which corner. The whole corner was ripped up and they said they couldn't find it. They wanted the address. But that building, it was in the Civic Center. The address was around the corner. So it wasn't even on the same street. So that address, how they think they could find this corner in the broken up sidewalk, when going to the northeast corner of this intersection wasn't a clue for them. The problem.
but if you go Esplanade and Albany Street, they know where to go.
We do have the small little signs.
They're not big enough. People don't see.
Okay, but they said, if you're on the Esplanade Rec, you'll see one sign that says like Rector Place.
No, it needs to be on the water. On the water. Signs need to be on the water.
Yeah, it seems like there's a couple issues
It
at
has to
play.
be an address.
Right.
That's why all parks have the same problem.
Yeah, how do you
A
give
lot
an
of
address?
corners do too, they don't. And that's why Gotham Park just set up a whole bunch of addresses along the arches. They
Interesting.
wanted to be able to do that.
Is that what they did?
They went to, well, in this building, they went to the borough president's office and they went to the map keeper, because he sets all the addresses for Manhattan.
It seems like maybe that's like what you have to
And
do.
they created addresses to the arches because they didn't know how to report anything for Gotham Park.
That's interesting.
Well, maybe we should look into some solution similar to that. I mean, that would require you guys
We can
coordinating with the borough presidents.
We can
make that phone call.
We can make that. That's, I
That'd
mean,
be
it's a
great.
public safety thing.
Yeah.
It is weird though, because it's not, part of it is on us, but ultimately, fire department authority doesn't runs neither through one nor not.
No, and Tammy has a direct line back.
Those are ones, and they use the maps that, like city planning, I guess, or the city map, the city.
Tell the addresses, borough by borough.
Borough, which is, falls to each, Manhattan,
Yeah.
which falls to each borough president. And the one
That's right.
person in the back office that assigns the.
Well, I discovered in questioning some liquor license a month or so ago that the address for the food court at Brookfield it's not 225 Liberty or anything like that. It's 100 West Street.
Yeah.
That was just those guys. It was, that was just them. The other guys all go by 225, so I'm not sure why.
Okay, but yes, we can.
Yeah.
It was one of the people, I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
We'll take the. See if we can just dig around with the borough president's office and the
Thank
people.
Yeah.
Keep up the addresses.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so folks, on the committee, we do have these, you have in front of you the three items, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We do have these three items on, the district needs list that we had, last year. And I'm actually happy to keep all three of them on,
I would vote to.
but I don't know if we have any others that we would like to add.
How do you want to modify or?
Yeah, I want well,
Modify it or?
because I'm not sure it's a budget. Well, oh, this isn't budget, this is.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about?
The last one, the one that we were just discussing.
I mean, it sounds like.
Goodbye.
It sounds like there may be a
Bad
solution.
for city works, so maybe it's not a.
Yeah.
For the city and one.
Yeah, I think that's,
Okay, so we're getting rid of number one or number three?
43.
Number 43 at the bottom.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because the authority either is gonna help with it or not, or they can.
The parks isn't gonna help, but.
Right.
South End Avenue, they're not helping on.
No, but I think
No,
it's
but
worth
it-
keeping on.
keep it on just as a thing. All right. Yeah, we want to keep it there to push them and we don't want it to go away. 'Cause this is for 2027 and we don't know what's going to go on in 2027.
Right, okay. For getting rid of the bottom one?
The bottom one, number 43, we're going to take out.
Because we think we have a solution.
Okay.
Can I ask you
It
a
doesn't-
question? Why
Yeah,
would you take it out before you have the solution? This budget is for 2027. If we don't have a solution within the next 2 years, and Nick and the team are super, super busy, then why would we take it out? I mean,
Then who would it go, that's a good question, I mean, you raise a good point, Tammy, but I think Parks is probably the wrong person to send it to. I'm not sure who else we would send it to. Mason Board President's office.
do it,
Really?
do it. If you can install a 5G tower on any sidewalk anywhere in a link NYC, then do it, maybe be able to be the ones to help, not Parks Department. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, they end up funneling these to the agency that they feel is best. So we don't really get to say what agency it goes to. I think they probably think Parks is best because, you know, if there's an issue in Central Park, I don't know exactly how they deal with it there, but maybe there's some correspondence there, but Parks is, you know, throwing their hands up and saying, not us.
Yeah. Isn't, because if these aren't city parks either.
Right.
But I mean, Tammy does make kind of a good point, that if we don't yet have a solution, we do need it solved. And so maybe it is do it and just to keep it on there. That's what we think. I mean, things that we want the borough president's office to do wouldn't be in here or.
So. I would agree with you on that one. I mean, even in transportation, we have something with the borough president's office.
Who
So
runs 311 and 911?
the city, though, right?
That's, OTI is 311.
So maybe it's OTI. Because if they can get it for, if one of the agencies could get it, the other one's gonna get it too, because they are connected.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's not really a budget request, if we're just saying work with Battery Park City.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, somebody's gotta do their, I mean, I don't know, much in the way of budget, but probably somebody in the maps room is gonna do something. Or
Yeah.
somebody's gotta adjust the programming or the input in the
Yeah.
311 system.
That's why it seems like OTI, because it is a big problem using addresses. And addresses don't make sense for most complaints.
Well, in these days with GPS and whatnot,
Exactly.
you know, be able to take in coordinates.
And maybe that's what should be rewording of this, is in this date of GPS. That there's a difficulty because a lot of these locations aren't next to an address. Not associated with an address.
So we should keep it.
Yes,
I
it's
think-
OTI.
I mean, I guess,
always like shortening our list, so I'll always be happy to be in.
I'm writing something. Modified and this goes directly against what Zach was just suggesting, because it's adding it's not adding an item, but it's adding words to an item. But so keep what it says, comma, such as modifying 911 and 311 to respond to locations designated by GPS coordinates.
That's the, but, okay, so what's a GPS coordinate?
Well,
Yes.
that's probably, yeah, no, it's longitude and latitude, I don't know what the name.
How do you know that?
But Google can do it.
Your phone knows it.
Your phone certainly knows
Say,
it.
where am I now?
In GPS? I don't know that I can figure that one out.
The compass, no, the compass doesn't have it.
To a shared, to a GPS location shared by, the caller.
I'm sorry, yeah, you can track me, track me, that's fine.
Shared
What are we talking about here? Share my
Shared
location, I can do.
location shared by smart device.
Mm-hmm.
Well, or computers, but anyway, by your electronic
But
device.
yeah, by electronic device, yeah.
So whenever you submit a 311, picks up where you are.
Mm-hmm, that's a good idea.
Could be an alternative. Somebody could also complain from a distance.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you say I'm not there, but yeah, that's fine. I'm not
But
there.
You are there.
But if you are there, it works.
For like 311, if you do the app, you can, attach photos and you could drop like a pin location in there.
Yeah.
I think probably the bigger issue would be 911, right? Because that's over the phone, more difficult and word and.
Imagine a system that could automatically detect the location of, smartphone.
And that's the bigger issue. When you say dropping a pin and doing other, it's.
Well, I'm just giving a such as here. I mean,
Well,
that-
I'm just
that's really,
saying the solution is a lot better, saying there.
But people don't want to actually be able to be tracked by other people.
Some don't know how to use their smartphones well enough. They're reporting on them and they're saying where it is, or they're in that location.
You need
still don't
area
understand
distance.
why their location won't work.
Yeah.
And what exactly are they supposed to do? So something has to be automated by the 911 or 311 system.
Wouldn't it be interesting to have mile markers, maybe? If we can't get street signs, to have mile markers in the park.
Well, mile markers, but there's no mile markers here, though.
well, I think our real problem is not so much labeling the park as the system itself won't accept a label other
Yeah,
than
exactly.
an address that's,
That they know.
that's registered someplace.
And how to do your reporting so that's
Yeah.
mechanized for you.
So anyway, just to have something to say, how about we port it to OTI? And read that, just add that.
Okay.
And I don't think we need any, I mean, we're.
No, I'm going to think the rest, yeah.
Beyond the jurisdiction of most of these requests.
Exactly, yeah, what's else we can do, we want to request up for the state.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right.
All right.
All right, meeting is adjourned.
That's it, we don't have to vote, right?
Don't have to.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night, Tammy.
Check, keep in mind.